tutti. Welcome back to Florence. I am outside the Basilica Santa Croce. That's that big thing behind me. It's a big church. It is actually the entombment site, or burial site, if you prefer, several prominent people from Florence, including Michelangelo, who, if he was still alive and not entombed in there, would be 547 yesterday. So I thought I'd celebrate his birthday by coming to the place he's buried. That doesn't sound right when you say it out loud, but nevertheless, that's what I'm doing. Would have been more appropriate, of course, yesterday, but I was in, Bologna, so what can you do? So a lot of people are buried in this church. It's a fantastic church, beautiful on the inside. I haven't visited on this trip, but I have been on my first trip, and I loved it. And what's interesting to me is my favorite story about Michelangelo is about how he got into this church. Because Michelangelo lived in Florence and created a lot of great works in Florence. But he was favored by the leaders at the time. And of course, when that happens and there's a change in leadership, you're not in such favor. And in fact, they found, he had to go into hiding at some point, and they found the place that he was hiding out just recently during the excavations in the Basilica. But I haven't yet figured out how to go and see that. But in any event, so then of course the leadership flipped back and he was in favor again. But he was still not, super happy with the whole situation. So when he was given the opportunity to go work at the Vatican for the Pope, he took it. And of course that's how we got all that great work at the not the sculptures around the Vatican, but also the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, right? So Florence has always been proud of its citizens, especially the accomplished ones, even the ones that they didn't like at the time, like Dante over there, who fell out of favor, as well as Galileo, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo. The list is actually pretty long. Machiavelli. They all seem to have at some point had to leave Florence because of whatever reason. Usually it's a change in leadership. Anyway, Michelangelo was still considered a Florence boy, and they wanted the thought that Michelangelo would be buried in the Vatican or in Rome, especially considering the rivalry. And the statue of David was built as a symbol of standing up to Rome. So they felt that he needed to be buried here in Florence. So when they heard that he had died, they had sent a group of men to pull off the heist of a lifetime, or at least the heist of the Renaissance. And just like you see in the movies, just like the boldness of those heists, what they decided to do was send these guys in wearing the right clothes and just acting like they worked there. And they walked into the Vatican unchecked, walked into the Vatican, took his body as if he was like they were ordered to do so, put it in a cart, like a horse-drawn cart, and booked it back to Florence. And they had to go straight to Florence. And I can't remember exactly, but I think they were stopped at some point. But they had, at that point, they had, of course, hidden him in the back. So here's Michelangelo's dead body in the back of their horse cart, and they're just like, no, we're supposed to be here. And they rode all day, all night, straight to Florence, buried him before the Romans even knew it had happened. And that's how Michelangelo arrived here. I love that story. It's amazing. It's bold, it's brash, it's, just doing things the way you want them to be done, because that's the way you figure things are supposed to be, right? So bit of a life lesson in there, or kind of a jerky lesson, perhaps, because no one really asked Michelangelo whether he wanted to come back to Florence. But nevertheless, it's a great basilica. It's a beautiful, beautiful architecture in the Renaissance style. Its facade has been upgraded over the years, and it's some people's favorite, even with the Duomo and the palace and all the other churches that are here. This is often cited as the favorite, and I don't blame them, especially considering its historical significance. And if you do visit, which I plan to this week, you get to go and visit the, I guess, what would you call those, crypts? But the burial locations of some pretty famous Florentians. So stand by for a bit more of that. That said, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well. I'm a little tired. Today was a bit of a break for me. It's not to go. I was ending this, but not to go on too long. But yeah, I tried to go up the hill. There's a Roman theater that I want to visit, but again, I had problems with the bus, and it's so funny because I got out there, and there was no bus tickets available. The booth was broken. All the shop owners, very rudely actually, were like, "No more tickets. Stop bugging me about tickets." You got to kind of remind them and say, "Well, I haven't bugged you. Maybe some other people did, but this is my first time." Anyway, yeah, it was just kind of a strange thing. Like, if I could offer travel advice for anyone traveling through Italy, is take the train as much as you possibly can. And the bus is a great option, unless you really need it. Like, it's that important to your travel plans. Because yeah, just one day they just won't have tickets, and the machine will be broken, and it was funny. Like, there was a bunch of us in the square, like, trying to ask, where do we get tickets? Where do we get tickets? Everyone's like, "Oh." And all these buses were just driving by empty because nobody could get on. But in a weird, like, this is just the way things are going for me right now. In a weird way, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm not, I don't want to do this anymore. I was in a little bad mood. So I went walking, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go get some more coffee from that place. And, then I don't know. I'll figure out what I'm going to do for the day. And I went to the place that I found good ground coffee, and they were closed. They were closed on Sunday. It's like, oh no, this is just my luck. And I was like, oh, geez, So right beside the coffee shop was a store, right? Like, their little variety stores. And that's where you buy the bus tickets, other than in the machines, right? And so I just went in, was like, okay, I'll, give this a try. And sure enough, I said, do you have bus tickets? And he's looking at me like, why wouldn't I have bus tickets? Yeah, here, how many you want? 2? Yeah, here you go. So I'm prepared now. I have 2 bus tickets. I'm ready to go. And then I walked home, but by the time I got home, my foot was so sore. Like, hikers will appreciate this. I got to the point where I was limping, and then my foot got just a little wet in one very specific location where it hurt. And I was like, oh, I have to deal with that. So, cleaned up the blister that I must have got yesterday. And I'm walking with a hidden limp right now, just to, like, kind of avoid stepping on it, but it's not bad. I rested this afternoon, so it was all good. So in a roundabout way, everything worked out in my favor, because had I been up the hill and gotten to the point where I was really hurting my foot, it was a big travel back, and I would have hated for the bus to just not show up or whatever, and having to walk back, because I think it's like an hour and a half walk or something. Anyway, so that was my long-winded, that story lasted longer than the activity I've done today. It was a rest day. But as you could tell, I'm doing well, and I hope everyone out there is doing well. Also, more to come from Florence. I'm still here till I think the 16th. Yeah, I shouldn't say I think. This 16th. I'm here till the 16th. So the countdown's on, but still lots more to do in this fantastic town. And at some point things aren't going to work out in my favor. But until they do, I'm just going to go with it. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm so lucky to be able to do this. And I hope one day you guys will be able to take advantage as well. So with that, I'm going to head back home. So, a domani. Arrivederci. Ciao.